BYU, I'll just start off with the biggest question for them. Who's going to play quarterback for them? Because coming off of last year, they went 11-2. Jake Retzlaff was coming back, and so it looked like they had that sorted out. They were going to try and improve the weapons around him. Chase Roberts was coming back, who's a good target for him. And then he gets sued in civil court for sexual assault, which is not true. But in order for him to prove it wasn't true, he had to admit he had sex outside of marriage, which is against the BYU Code of Conduct. And so he's going to get suspended for a bunch of games, so he transfers out. And that left him in a bind because this was late spring, early summer, so quarterbacks had kind of all already found their homes.
Yeah.
They get kind of a weird transfer from Bear Bachmeier, the true freshman, who just happened to transfer from Stanford. Pre this news in spring ball, he transfers from Stanford to BYU. So he's there. McKay Hillstead's there, and Trayson Bourget is there. But what do y'all expect them to do at quarterback, first of all?
Oh, I'd just start the true freshman. I feel like with Kalani Sitake, like, excellent head coach. He's had 2 losing seasons ever. Now this will be his 10th year coaching for the BYU Cougars. 2 losing seasons for BYU. Like, that's substantial. He's had excellent teams. So I don't think it's necessarily even going to matter who they start at quarterback. I think they'll have a winning record, and I still think they'll be good. Unfortunately for them, that's going to feel like a step down considering the way last season went. They were there, tied in the Big 12 standings with Arizona State, but because they lost at Arizona State, they did not make the Big 12 championship. And so it's, again, going to feel like another step back because of that. It's unfortunate the way that is all played out, but we're not a group that wants to talk about legal situations.
Correct.
So I would just start the true freshman, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I believe he was a 4-star, so he's a talented kid. Brother of Hank Bachmeier, he spent time at Boise State and Wake Forest, who was a fan favorite of mine. So I also have some personal bias there. But I agree, and Kalani Sitake has always done well at maximizing his talent. So I do expect whoever plays to, even if there's growing pains, put up a pretty solid season. Aside from that, other key I mentioned Chase Roberts had 854 yards and a couple touchdowns last year. They have a I can't see his name. Is it Isaiah Jott, offensive tackle? I don't know if I pronounced his last name correctly, but he's a force for them outside.
That's a weird Jatte. Could be like Yate.
It could be Yate. I don't know. But he graded out really highly last year. He returns, and then defensively, Tanner Wall is the kind of quarterback of the defense for them. Had 53 tackles and a couple picks last year. But yeah, another question I have for y'all. So their defense was great in 2024, which is a rarity for the Big 12. But something I noticed while doing my research is a lot of the defenses that, even though they were good, the pass rush as a whole is just not great in the Big 12. A lot of teams struggle to get after the quarterback. It would be like, yeah, they limited the passing yards, or they're really good against the run, but they'd have like 20 sacks on the season or 22 sacks on the season, stuff like that. So ideally they'd be able to repeat their good defense, but get into the backfield more, create some more negative plays. I guess that's not really a question for y'all. But yeah, what do y'all see from this team, I guess, overall next season?
I'll be interested to see. I feel like a lot of the narrative last year around BYU, and the reason that even when they started the season 9-0 and they were only ever ranked in the teens, I think, like 15, 14, 13,
Sure.
somewhere in there. I think a lot of the narrative was around like strength of schedule, a weak strength of schedule. I'll be interested to see, even if they repeat a successful season, how far that gets them. Because if you look at the schedule again, it's just not great. They play Portland. They open the season with Portland State. Stanford is not, I don't think, going to be a very big boost as far as out-of-conference games go.
Yeah.
East Carolina, I don't think it's a huge boost. And then in the conference, they play West Virginia, who I'm low on, Arizona, who I'm low on, UCF, who we're low on. I don't really know, even if they have a successful season as far as schedule-wise goes. I mean, they went 11-2 last, or 11. Yeah, they went 10-2 in the regular season, and didn't make the playoffs, which they shouldn't have. They weren't even like close. I think they finished. Did they finish outside the top 25? Did they get dropped?
I don't remember, but they play 5. To your point, 5 of the bottom 7 of the odds in the Big 12.
Yeah.
So yeah, the schedule's weak.
The schedule is very weak.
But there's still, I mean, kind of marquee games on there. You go win at Texas Tech, win at Iowa State, beat Utah, beat Colorado. Like,
Yeah.
There's places to make statements. I agree that their win total can maybe get a little inflated overall, but I don't want to dog on them too much.
They had those statements last year. They beat us at SMU. They won. They beat Kansas State.
So you're saying they weren't a good team last year, or like they weren't deserving of?
No. I was high. I had them ranked higher.
Okay.
I think
I'm pretty sure you had them at like 6 or 7.
I'm pretty sure I had them in my top 10 when they were 9-0.
Gotcha.
You
Gotcha.
definitely
So,
had them in your top 10.
I'm saying, if they were 9-0, if a team is undefeated and they've got wins against Iowa State and they've got wins against Colorado and Texas Tech, I will be higher on them. But I'm saying as far as a committee goes, because Week 11 they play Texas Tech, we'll be getting committee rankings at that point. I don't know. I'm sorry, my bad. I don't know how far this schedule is going to get them because we saw how far a similar schedule got them last year, and it was mid-teens and then punished pretty severely when they lost. They lost to Kansas, who was not a great team last year, I don't think, and then Arizona State, which was Arizona State ended up making the playoffs. I'm just curious, what do y'all think about the schedule, and what would you say they need to do against this schedule to have success or to make a playoff push?
I mean, I don't see them making a playoff push. I mean, if you look, they have the 8th best odds to win the Big 12.
Yeah.
So, like, even if they have a good season, I think it'd take something pretty magical to
undefeated.
Yeah, to go on a run and make the playoffs. I don't really think that
was the big thing on BYU. Josh Pate touched on a ton, but it was also touched on by ESPN and any network that talked about it, and I'm sure the committee had the same stats in front of them. Metrically, they were not great from a metric standpoint. They were never ranked in the JP poll for Josh Pate. He only put him in there because of an exception.
Yeah.
They were not. I don't think they ever got into the top 35 on his poll. I don't think he ever said that.
He had to override it.
I think it was more so. While yes, they had some marquee wins, they weren't that great of a team, and it was just a argument of you are what your record says you are.
Correct.
With them, and that may be the case again this year, but I don't think it's going to be. I think the quarterback situation lowers the floor a ton.
But
I think the conversation we're happening right now has no importance because I don't think they'll ever be in a spot this season.
I guess my point is that
to.
even with the new quarterback, their schedule is so weak that they could still get to not like 10-2.
Yeah, but I think the big thing here is like a new quarterback, but it's a big drop from Retzlaff, even if Retzlaff is not high for you, and it's also this is a freshman college quarterback.
Yeah,
it's not similar to it's not like the NFL where you're talking about like, okay, this is Justin Fields starting at quarterback. No, it's a freshman in college of 130 schools instead of 32.
Yeah.
I think that's much more a larger part of the picture, regardless of how the schedule is. Now, you could make the same argument, flip it on its head, and say, well, the teams are actually worse spread out because they are spread out compared to the NFL.
Sure.
But I think it's the latter on that end of that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, you say their schedule is really weak, and it is probably on the weaker side, but there's still 5 games they may be underdogs in, depending on how things shake out. So, I mean, I just don't expect them to be in a spot where we're having the same conversation as we did last year. With that being said, what is their over-under?
I'm pulling it up now because
Cool.
I just realized I was using a CBS article, and the article was posted in March.
So odds have probably changed a little bit.
Retzlaff was not there.
Yeah.
So I've got it right now, 6.5, which is it was 7.5.
Well, I was about to say, that being said, I don't expect them to be in the playoff conversation. I will expect them to hit the over of 6.5 wins.
Yeah.
Someone has to go under. BYU's going to go under.
Okay, fair.
I'm taking the over. I've already got my under knocked out. I can have the rest of the teams go
Week
over.
4, big week. Look out for that against the Pirates. I don't expect them to win that game.
Let's keep rolling.
I'll have a friend in the stands for that one.